expectations? Did anybody have the same expectations as their partner? No? Yeah. You did? Okay. What was one that you guys both shared? Unity. Unity. Yes, ma'am.
You said like overall school spirit and high like involvement.
Those kind of go hand in hand together, don't they? That's awesome. Anybody else have any overlaps?
Role models for the entire
When you say community, do you mean Greek community or?
Greek and English students.
I think it's very powerful when we really take that challenge on and go out into the community that our universities are hosted in and really become active in those opportunities as well.
Yeah, so here's my question. On your campuses, 90% of the issues with Greek members, are they created by Greek members or by non-Greek members? Who? By Greek members. So we say these things like, oh, well, can't we all just get along? Yeah, we really could if you quit stealing our charter on the weekends. That's a really funny joke that you're playing. Yeah, we could if you quit putting poop in our mailbox. Wouldn't that be a great world to live in? Yeah, I could if you didn't tell that girl not to join us because you were the cat girls. Like, right? We get in our own way. We get in the way of the work that we do. Are you correct? And let me tell you what, national offices and headquarters to headquarters, we're guilty of it too. We went to an educational program for our professional development, and they brought in an outside facilitator who was a Greek woman, and it was about educational programs. Folks, let me tell you something. Your ed programs, whether you're a Kappa Alpha Theta, whether you're a Sigma Kappa, whether you're a Delta Sigma Theta sorority incorporated member, whether you're a Delta Sigma Phi, you're a Sigma Phi Epsilon, whatever you are, your programs are pretty much the same things. You're doing some regional leadership academies, you have a flagship leadership program, probably doing a new member education program, maybe a risk management program, and a recruitment program. But guess what? If you're not a Delta Sigma Phi member, I don't want to tell you what I'm doing. That makes me special. That's my little golden ticket, right? So we as headquarters are not even playing unified with each other. And that's something we addressed and we were like, wait a minute, we are hypocrites. We're telling our students to do these things, yet I'm not doing it. So if a woman or a man calls me, let's say a man calls me and goes, well, you know, the DUs on our campus, they decided to break our window. I think that sometimes students have the perception I'm gonna go, yeah, let's get up. And I'm gonna hang up the phone and come beat it up. That's not how it works. We get in our own way. So you gotta know that. That's something you have to own and acknowledge right away. And for those of you on the NPCs or the IFC executive boards, welcome to being the change agent. It's you. You're it. And if you're the president of your organization, or if you're the lowly sophomore member that just joined, we had a kid one time in our organization, we had an issue with hazing. We had a kid stand up one time and he went, I think you're all full of crap. And it's really disappointing to see that you told me I was signing up for something that I didn't get. And I'm gonna stay because I'm better than that, and I'm gonna make the organization better, and you all should be ashamed of yourselves. And if you wanna have an adult conversation with me, because you're clearly not, I'd be happy to. And I was like, and he was one of my Fudge brothers, and I was like, I don't know. I disagreed. I was, you know, but thank God he stood up and made some change happen. It is not a fun place to be, right? Nobody likes it. Greek week and alcohol events. Greek campuses and third-party vendors. How often are we fighting that battle? And you all know there's the one person that says, this is not what is right. Every time we're together, we should not have a cup in our hand. That defeats the purpose of what we're doing. Does that poor guy or girl say it all the time? Because what's the general reaction from everyone? Oh, don't listen to him. He's crazy. It'll never happen. Oh, don't listen to her. She's stupid. She's just a huge man. Right? So let's talk about this. What are some of the things that we conform to as Greeks? Good or bad? I'll start. Greek week. We all love a Greek week or a lip sync. And you know outside people are like, we're wearing costumes, we're just not in words, doing this. And people wonder why we're a little bit different, right? Okay? And it is a big deal. We are rehearsing for weeks. We're stretching. We're good to go. Got the splits ready. Okay? What else are we conforming to as Greeks? Good or bad? I know you got them. I'm just going to start pulling people out if you don't. Theme parties. Right. What's some of our favorite themes? Just curious. Go around the horn here. Heard them all. I heard one the other day. It was a new one. Golf, pros, and tennis hose. Hadn't heard that one. That was nice. I got a request the other day for a special event in our office. what was it? Something with guns and nuns. I was like, interesting rhyming concept there. Okay, like not sure, right? We all have these office themed parties. None of them are ever like values and actions party. Community service, hootenanny. Like, right? No, that never happens, right? Okay, so social parties. What else are we conforming to as Greeks? Oh, tradition. That's a big one, right? She said particular philanthropy participation. That's a great one. Okay. What else are we not conforming to? I'll give you a big one. Here's the underlying message. Well, I had to do it, so they should have to do it. What is that? What am I talking about? It starts with an H, starts with an Azen. Right. Right. I was hazed like this. Today is Thursday, and you're not allowed to turn left. So I have to walk past like this. Okay? Stupid. I was also told that if I attack someone like your brother, I had to do this. Beep! Johnny Knowles great! He's doing great! I had to walk away. Anytime I saw him, stupid. Like, did this make me appreciate being a Delta Sigma Phi member? Please. Okay? What else do we have to do? Come on. There's lots of conformity happening. Sorry. Dress and pinwear. That's one. I'll take it. What else?
I was just gonna say, like, social media, like, there's like TXN, well, total sad or total bad news, and like, our numbers are like retweeting things that like are like make us look stupid. So it's kind of like, why would you like support that? I mean, like it's funny to look at it, but like when you're retweeting it, when you're posting stats and people that are going to see that, then they're like, okay, you're just like that.
Right.
And that goes exactly back to, we know it's a joke, and we can laugh about it, just even the YouTube video, stuff that sorority girls say, things like that. It can be entertaining to us because we see some of the truth in it, but we know most of it's joking, but then that's that perception that becomes reality to the general public. And so we feed into it, and this is where we need to take that action and know when to have those difficult conversations and to develop that confidence so that we can be those change agents. And we can be the people that just bring that up in the room and say, I know that this is our tradition, but what purpose does it serve? Where does this reflect the oath that we took in our ritual? And so those are the type of questions that we need to start asking, and not just you in this room, but everybody that's here at AFLB and everybody back in our communities. And be comfortable in asking those tough questions, because oftentimes Will probably wanted to ask that same question when he was younger, but he just wasn't ready to yet. He didn't know that he could. And so that's where you guys can really start that movement and really help make those differences. And sometimes it's something that's really small, and then sometimes it's something bigger. And you can have those conversations on the side and say, Carla, you're awesome, and I know that you and I, we're just not sure about this, and I don't think that this really reflects the values and the morals that we have as individuals, but also as sorority sisters. I'm going to bring this up at meeting. Will you back me up on that?
Absolutely.
And those are some of the conversations that we just need to start having and really motivating our other sorority sisters and fraternity brothers to have.
Yeah, and this goes back to this. Like, I know that you guys probably think that she's just praising the Lord Jesus right now. That's probably what's happening here. And Sally clearly agrees with her. She's very excited about that topic as well. But like, a picture's worth 1,000 words, right? How many of you have a student newspaper? How often are you in the student newspaper as Greeks? Every week. And how many times is it like, Pi Beta Chi again takes 400 members and they're all loving life? No, it's like, and another Greek student gets drunk again. And another da-da-da. People love the negative press. They love it. And my favorite part about Jersey Shore, if you haven't seen it, now they've added a feature, an after-show feature. So not only do I, as an audience member, get to sit down, laugh, and be horrified at some of the things that are happening, but then I get to listen to Snooki sit on the couch and go, yeah, I'm looking back on it, probably wasn't a good idea. Well, where was somebody telling her now? Poor girl, look at her. Looks like she got some dental work right here. Anyways, so I'm getting distracted. So I mean, these are the things. When we're actually doing it, it flies out the window, right? When we're in the middle of our romp in the hay social barn dance, whatever we're calling it, and a girl gets drunk and passes out, well, that's not fun to approach her and help that situation. My date gets mad at me. Right? No, people, dig in, make some change. And this is what we're talking about. You know the policy. You know what's right, you know what's wrong, right? You all know this. Sorority women, you know the recruitment rules, right? You know them inside and out. Why would you put food there if you know it's not supposed to be? Because then you do this. Well, I'm the president, and we have ham sandwiches out. Oh God. I'm just gonna leave them out until somebody else knows it's gonna be there. Then you become a bystander. I guarantee if you watch Jersey Shore, the things that happen, you know what happens when they get in fights? They stand back, if something happens, and then when the first punch is thrown, then they all like dive and attack on each other. It's awesome, it's the greatest thing ever. That's how we are as fraternity brothers and sisters. I would be in a fight screaming at this kid, yelling at him, he'll be yelling back at me, and everyone's like, I don't want to stop watching, it's like a train coming off the tracks. I can't help. And then the minute I like go to actually physically harm him now, we are at the point as students, and I am not far from your age, as individuals, where it's physical harm, then you're like, oh, I probably should step in now, okay, right? Like, that needs to change. We need, before this point of the video, you need to be stepping in, making a change, right? So let's talk about how we're going to do that. Let's talk about what that looks like. Amber's got a very fancy pen now.
Oh, it is not.
It is on green. I'm sorry, I'm partial. We apologize.
I think one of the things that we wanted to make sure that we were all had the opportunity to share what challenges we're dealing with right now. So then that way, as we practice resolving that conflict and having those difficult conversations, we've got a list to refer to. So what are some of those challenges that you are faced with? I know we've listed some of them already, but
Right.
are there any other new ones that you've been battling for quite some time?
I think this kind of has like the stereotypical blackout culture, like it's okay to black out all the time. And so we're working to change that.
If you don't mind.
Oh.
She's at the University of Washington. Just to kind of give you some perspective here, I think that's important to know what large or small population we're kind of dealing with, okay? And remember, this is candid conversations. We don't need to talk about this after we leave the room, but let's help her. Let's have some real tough conversation right now. I like that, blackout culture. So how would you approach that? What are some of the things that you individually are doing?
Well, as Vice President Standards on Pan-Atlantic, I think it's really important to have transparency with our bylaws, especially like the weather exchange rules. That's something that's not very clear with among like the sorority women. So I think just transparency with the rules. So
Did you say blackout or blockout?
blackout.
Like, so from alcohol?
Yeah.
Blackout.
Sorry, I was-
Blocking the party out there.
It might have been a new term, I didn't know.
Yeah, I think it's just like a term that we say. I don't know.
Oh, no.
You all know what blackout is.
Also, if you think, going back to the moral development theory, there are two things that we need to do to make sure that we're educating all of our members. I'm sorry.
You got it?
And first, we need to, like you said, be transparent about the policies. But also, I'm sorry.
Your lung is on the ground. So what she's going to say is be transparent about the policies. And just let me start.
Education about alcohol.
Great, and we need to be. Anyone have an inhaler? No, I'm just kidding. And I think Amber's right on. We do need to be educating members. We do need to be giving them that understanding. 90% of the issues that I face at the national office and calls that I take, and I have other national folks here, 90% of the phone calls, it's just misinformation, right? Well, that member deactivated. There's no deactivation policy. You can't deactivate it. You have to be expelled, right? Well, we've been doing it forever. That doesn't help. We're gonna make some change, right? You're talking about a big picture change here. So I would say number one, let's break this down. This goes back to what Amber said. We have to get some people on our team, right? You can't make change by yourself. That's a very honest statement, and that hurts me to say that, but it's true, right? Nowadays it seems you can't get a job by yourself. You gotta know somebody who knows somebody, right? Welcome to the culture we live in. So if I'm at the University of Washington campus and you and I have this conversation, you know that I feel the same way, let's meet. Let's have all of our executive boards from our chapters buy in. Let's talk about it. Members have died, folks, this year. If you're a sister of Tri Delta, you lost a sister this year from alcohol. Does that stick to you a little bit? That's a big deal. We will have a member die again sometime this year because there's a change that needs to happen. There is some awful behavior, and we are not saying it.
So when we're looking back at the moral development theory, we have the opportunity. People are going to know the policies and they're going to be able to interpret them.
have to educate on alcohol. So one of the things that we can do is educate on the protective factors. So I may not make a choice because I believe in that policy, but I might make a choice because I want to protect myself. And there's 6 alcohol protective factors that can be really powerful and really easy to implement. I encourage you to look them up. And those are great pieces of education because oftentimes we're not going to pay attention to the black and white policy, but we are going to pay attention about how can I take care of my sister and how can I not be, and this, I used to do this education in grad school. The title I gave on it was how to prevent a hangover. Those 6 protective factors not only prevent a hangover, they're going to prevent something bad being able to happen to you or your sisters. So thinking about moral development theory, think about the policy, but also think about the real life choices that we're faced with and how can we give them the skill set and the tools to make choices that are not only going to keep ourselves safe, but also protect our community.
And like I said, that building that network of people to buy in, you are not the only person that ever hasn't thought about some of those changes that needs to happen. Find who that is. We have one triangle of moral development. That one triangle is not going to stop anything, but that whole row of triangles together, that will make some change. That's a very powerful message. So that would be some of my advice. How else would you maybe help our friends here? Think about it. Put it in your own context. What would you guys provide? Yes?
We had a problem in our CFLNBGLC community, and they basically did this big program on like why it's important, like what you guys were saying. It's like they know that they should protect their sisters, but like it's almost like you have to like feed the information to them like why it's important. Like you are a values organization, like, until you understand that, it's like buy in or get out kind of thing. Like if you're here to party, like we're based on morals, we're based on values. Like it's kind of like you have to like tell them like why it's important to like not bug out.
Yeah.
When you talk about education, I think education can be kind of counterproductive sometimes.
Sure.
I think you need to be very succinct on what you were educating with. This is the universities to this degree community. Like, don't get drunk if you do, but you're going to be caught with the cops. Make sure you get consent if you're doing such a stranger. How about not getting blacked out? How about not having sex with strangers in the first place? So it's kind of like handing filtered cigarettes. Don't smoke, but here they are. So these caveats, I feel like they have such low expectations of the community that they kind of enable us in a lot of ways, especially with sexual propriety. And so I think some programs need overhaul when it comes to what's I don't know, the break count or the
Right, whatever, if you have something like that on your campus, like a sexual awareness office or a sex education kind of facility.
Right. So it's the bare minimum. I think people push it as far as they can go because it's what the educators said. Maybe the educators are a little more things. So I think and that's gonna take a lot to overhaul university curriculum. But I think it can be done.
Sure. I think our friend in the back was handed first.
Yeah, I think we've been talking a lot about like perception and like things like that. I think the biggest problem on my college campus is like that's the culture and like the groups of people who do like blackout and who like do party a lot do it together. And so it's not like if you have a friend, it's hard to be friends with someone that like has a lot of different morals and values, but when they're all like one cluster and they're like who black out all the time, it's okay. Like that's okay to do. Like I think it's hard because their perception is different than our perception. So that's how like it's hard to kind of confront.
Well, and I did this as an undergrad. My friends would walk over like at brunch on Saturday morning and be like, oh my God, I saw you at like midnight and then I don't know what happened the rest of the night. And we're like, are you serious? Oh my God. Like, we kind of laugh about it. But really we should be going, you're an idiot. Like, what are you doing? You wandered the streets drunk and you were blacked out? Like, you should have been hit by a car. You know what I mean? Like, come on.
But
It's a great point.
And what we'll see is really, so you have those education moments that the campus or the Greek community, whoever provides, but that's where, as a chapter, take that conversation further and say, okay, so here's the things that we learned and here's some of the things that were being said, but what are our expectations as a chapter, as a community? You wrote down your personal ones, but do they match up with what your chapter members and your community members say? And if they don't, that's a great place to start. And maybe the expectations don't even match your ritual or the values that you have as an organization. That's where the conversation goes next. Because we can't solve everything if we're not working together, we're not on the same page, we're not communicating. So I'm gonna be mad at Will because he didn't, follow through on something. Well, if he doesn't know that that's an expectation that I have of him and that I have of our workplace, So we have to make sure that we're discussing our expectations as a group. And yes, they may be stated in bylaws, but we know, we don't read them. So make sure that we have those discussions on a regular basis. Have a paper meeting and actually get to the heart and to the core of what's going on.
And I think just another practice, I think you're like itching, I got you, throwing, I got you. I think another best practice, and this is probably where Amber and I are different. Amber loves to be very clear and very direct and provide you with the theory. I'm more of the rough and kind of scratchy on the edges. Sometimes you just have to be clear. So the information needs to be provided, but basically sometimes when we went through this, we were doing expectations for the chapter one time, and one of them was like, we expect you to look at your professional best at all times. Translation, don't be a scrub. Don't roll out of bed, look at a hot mess, you know what that looks like, you make fun of those people. Like, that's how Will presents the material. Amber's very clean and shiny, I love that, that's how we work well together. So with that also goes, some of those expectations are not things like your attendance at a meeting. Some of them are, we know that we're gonna drink on our campus. We know that's culture, we know that's college culture. So what are some of the unwritten rule expectations that we need to establish? That's a healthy conversation to have. That's being proactive, and we should be having those conversations, right? Yes, you were next.
I was just having a conversation with one of our advisors the other day, and I'm the family president.
Okay.
And we have like a small bit of backstory to this, but one of the big issues I think in all of our communities is our older members, especially with like the issue of alcohol, are not setting an example for the younger members, and that reflects in the kind of we're recruiting that that's okay, or I met you at a party, and one of the things we were talking about is like ways like we can kind of like change that or start setting good examples. And something I hadn't heard of before, at having like a formal or maybe like an on like event, and if there is alcohol provided, having like a drink card where you can only get like 6 drinks for the night, and like they like punch your card when you go to the bar, something like that. So you're like you're still allowing alcohol to that aspect, but then again like somehow they call it like the perfect card for teaching people responsibility. That way you don't go and like slam 6 beers, and you can spread it out throughout the night and still be social and have fun. But then again, like you're setting an example. Like I know, like I'm a Delta Gamma, and at our formal, like before we've had like a couple girls that they're of age but 21, they're just getting so sloppy, and it's like embarrassing for them, and then for our new members to see that, and they're like, oh, I'm just joined this great organization, and I see your underwear and you're on the floor. So.
But I think one of the things that Will and I want to make sure that we gave you guys time is being able to practice and have those conversation skills. And how do you address that conversation? And I gave everybody a handout about a conflict and just some tips, but that's just for your reference. So we thought it would be good for you guys to get up and move around the room and practice having those conversations. So maybe you can use the example that you just gave, or maybe it's a different challenge that you're seeing on campus all the time. But we know that role playing is helpful in this safe environment. So then that way when you go back to your campus, you feel a little more comfortable having those difficult conversations, because it's easier to practice on us because we understand we have the same goals in mind, but we want to make sure that you have that opportunity. So if you guys want to take a couple minutes and find someone in the room that you haven't met yet and introduce yourself, and then role playing, having those confrontation conversations where maybe someone was sloppy at formal the night before or another situation, and then that way you can switch.
So I would say this side should go to this side, and that side should meet me on that side. Go!